You can call central intake or put a tent up here and they can put you in.
But they wouldn't let me in because they're trying to keep the media
No
away.
cameras, no cameras
Yeah,
are
no
allowed
cameras.
either.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to see the conditions of it. I'm telling you, I pulled up because the wallpaper was just hanging, so I lifted it up and it's all black mold underneath it. I was like, oh my
They're
god.
getting funding from the government to
I
look
got
after.
Plus Homes First, I believe it was $63 million from the Toronto government to put fentanyl dealers, pimps, and human traffickers in jail. But they're not doing it. They're not investigating anything. You can see who's selling drugs. There's lineups at their door. And nobody's doing nothing. The cops are sitting downstairs talking about their weekend and what they want to do for a holiday. You know, and the only time that I've heard about is the police coming up to a room is if they hear that like if 911 gets called.
Yeah.
Or if the neighbors start calling because of a domestic or a fight in a room and then they come out. But they don't always come out. And that's just a new thing. That's only in the last couple of weeks since Heather was murdered.
Heather, what happened with Heather?
Heather's the one that I told you she got stabbed to death after they studied her.
Okay, no, I thought it was a guy.
No, a woman. No,
Colombia.
a guy.
You told me about.
Colombia died yesterday.
Yeah, you did tell me about Heather.
Heather is, the one that I said she lived where I lived and her kids are grown up and she smoked crack. And they took her in a room that she was at and told her it was crack, it was fentanyl, and they stabbed her to death.
After she took the fentanyl.
Yeah.
So she wasn't mentally there when they did that.
Yeah. Like, there's no reason. I just didn't get it.
And then when they did that, has anybody found?
They looked for the people that were responsible, and then they put some people in jail, but it took a long time. And then from what I know, a couple of them are already back outside, and they murdered somebody. It's not like they were like, "Ooh, it's an accident," because you picked up the wrong pipe. Like they
stabbed somebody. Yeah, they stabbed.
A lot of people have been stabbed and killed in there. And hot shotting is the biggest thing in the world. It happens all over. Every small ghetto-ish community or anywhere there's a large drug culture, people are killing each other. All over Canada, all over America.
Yeah, that's so sad.
The part is somebody said to me, a human life is only worth $20, so that's what a pint of fentanyl costs. It costs $20 to kill somebody. Anybody could do that. That's a scary reality. That's like I said, it's chemical warfare.
And they're not being investigated. These deaths are not being investigated.
No, from what I heard, unless your parents or your family pushes it, they don't even do autopsies on our body. We're just written down as Jane and John Doe, fentanyl overdose, even if it's just not a fentanyl overdose.
Jane and John, because you have no ID.
So. That's right. So that's what it is. Because everybody, you're with people who want drugs all the time, so they steal everything you have. Like when my door's open, first I worry and think somebody could have raped me because sexual offenders don't come back to big, huge houses and wonderful things when the whole world knows that they're rapists or pedophiles. Yeah. They're in there. And the staff's leaving the door open. So I think about that. Every time I'm taking a shower, I feel scared and vulnerable.
So, isn't it not separate to, where the women are and where the men are?
Together.
Everyone's
all
together.
No separation at all.
So what about the shower and that? Is it still?
Well, it's a hotel room, so everybody has their own room, right?
Oh, okay.
But at a lot of places, like 58 Yonge Street, which is also run by Homes First, they had a bathroom that all the guys were smoking drugs and doing fentanyl. The stalls, okay, ready? There's 4 of them. One had no toilet, just a hole in the floor. The 2 end ones had no doors, and then one had a door with no lock. And I'm supposed to go in there in the middle of the night with a bunch of guys getting high.
Oh, so they're in the women one.
All together, and it's destroyed. It's like it looks like the scariest bathroom ever. And like, how do I feel comfortable if I gotta pull my pants out in front of a bunch of men? Right?
Yeah, of course.
Like, come on, man.
Logical, yeah.
And then when you're sleeping with everybody. So you don't know who's sleeping beside you.
Exactly.
You have no idea what type of person they are. It's scary.
Scary. So what's your plan? What's your end goal? For them to give you a place to stay and
Well, I gotta do a lot of stuff because I have to do a lot of stuff with my doctor for ODST.
Yeah.
And then I get my ID back, and then I have to. They just started a new subsidy program where they top up rent, and you have to apply for it every year because the cost of living here is crazy.
That's what I wanted you to talk about,
It's too much, and then even the food, even when you're living on your own and you're on ODSP or whatever it is, half the time you're gonna have to go into a food bank. It's gonna take up 3 days of your week easily.
And they're building condos everywhere, which is obviously making it worse for us.
Yeah, because nobody can afford it. They need affordable
Housing, yeah.
Yeah. And like housing that helps people that have more needs. Like people that are so handicapped they can't remember to shower. Or they can't get up and do it themselves.
So people with disabilities.
I might be there one day because of my rheumatoid arthritis. But right now I can function. It just hurts all the time really bad.
Yeah.
So I'm used to living with pain. But that's the thing, doctors, now it's like they're scared to give any type of painkiller to people because of the opioid epidemic. But then when I go to the hospital and I have something wrong with me, they don't do anything for my pain. They just let you suffer. And because you're an addict, most of the time they do nothing and then dump you back out on the street. Somebody killed me. I was hot shotted a couple times. And you wake up in a hospital, it's the scariest thing. The first thing you do as a woman is check your vagina. Because you think, God, was I raped? And you don't know how you got there at all. And then the hospitals start shaking you, waking up, and like, get out, it's time to go. Like, they're mean as hell. They put me in a wheelchair, and then security roll me out and dump me out on the sidewalk.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, I'm not even human.
Can you recall what happened that day when you got hot shotted? Do you recall anything or?
Somebody put something in my pipe, and as soon as I inhaled it, the pipe turned purple, and all I thought was, oh, fuck. Because I knew. And it felt like a helicopter landing on my head. And I looked at my friends and said, I need help. And he naloxed on me, and I kept naloxing. Like, you have to keep doing it. It only lasts 20 minutes. Yeah. And any of the naloxons, whether it's injectable, like a flu shot intramuscular, or nasal, they only last 20 minutes.
So you have to keep doing it
You have to keep doing it to fight it, because it starts to creep back in. It feels like a big, heavy, warm blanket on you, and it's pushing you down. That's why they call it a down.
Wow.
That's why everybody's like this.
Yeah, that's
and then everybody that's got something a little bit wrong, now everybody's walking all twisted up, man.
Because the body got used to being in that position, yeah.
Yeah, and it deteriorates your muscles. It eats holes through people. So I'm saying, like, everybody's got like big dents in their muscles, like pieces missing, it looks like. It's scary stuff.
Yeah, man, this was, thank you for this interview. This was brilliant. I want to thank you and tell you, you're a strong individual. You seem like you're educated. And
keep trying.
Keep going, man. You've got this. Make sure you stay awake and alive for your children. And inshallah, one day you'll see them, yeah? God willing, you will see them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got to see my son a couple of weeks ago for a few hours.
Yeah, no, you keep going, keep being you. And just remember, there's people out here for you guys, like me, who do this out of my own pocket, who do this, who care about you guys. And we're here for you.
That's the thing is, the government's not connecting people that want to help with the people who need the help.
Exactly.
So it just means nobody gets help.
Nobody gets help. They need to because they're closing down all the shelters. And I just wonder what's going to happen if you close them all down.
All of them are going to close in the spring of next year, a lot of them. And then it'll just be 10 cities everywhere again. Wow. There's more people homeless now than in the Depression, apparently.
No, the homeless situation
in Toronto. Now in Toronto, everywhere.
All of Canada, yeah.
When I was in Belleville, I was in the abused women's shelter, and they had one other shelter, and the way it works is you get to stay there for 30 days. They said, like, when I went to go see people there and see what it was like,
yeah.
They said you stay there for 30 days, and then they dump you on the street, somebody else gets the turn. And they had like 60 spots, so there would be 300 or 400 people every night trying to get in. And that's in a small town.
Yeah, that's a small town like
and the
that.
fentanyl epidemic, it's all the little tiny towns. Everybody's doing fentanyl. High school kids are doing fentanyl. I'm like, what the hell?
Where is it coming from? Is it coming through the borders?
Well, they can make it here.
You can make
chemicals. You don't need to grow it anymore.
Okay.
Like cocaine and marijuana traditionally was brought in because we needed a hot tropical country to grow the plants. Crystal meth and fentanyl is made in a chemical lab or a bathtub, so it's dirty. People don't take the right precautions to make it because it's not made by a scientist with gloves and everything. It's made in a meth lab or a fentanyl. They're just stirring it up in a pot.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just mixing a bunch of crap together, and that's why it's killing people. Because drug dealers don't care what they cut drugs with. They just want their money.
They want they want as much profit as possible.
That's right. So if they can add something to it that's not going to kill you and keep you coming back or make you jones out and need drugs more because it wears off too fast, of course they're going to add it. They don't give a fuck what it does to you. That's why they're adding horse dewormer to it. And you can see the pictures in the outreach kits with all the harm reduction stuff, and there'll be pictures of people with big huge sores and their noses are rotted off. There's a lot of women downtown that I've noticed, 3 or 4 of them, they have no nose because it ate through their nose. It's scary. It's not a normal situation.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Is there any last words you want to say to the audience before we go? And any
I don't
last
know.
words?
Try to keep kids positive. You know, like pushing kids away from, no matter how much they drive you crazy, putting a kid on the street is the worst thing you can do because it gets way worse for them. And then you got to live with that. Because I was on the street when I was a kid because my mom she didn't get along with me, and she would push me to leave, and that's when I was getting in trouble. If your parents are your parents are supposed to not be your friend, be your parent, and keep you in control and positive and learn. If you're on the street, you have all the negative influences at you, and that's where everything fails, right?
Yeah.
And it can't be like that.
Yeah.
The government really needs to help us as human beings relate to each other, understand each other, and think of human lives, right? Think of how long it takes a woman to grow a baby. That's a precious thing,
Exactly, man.
right? That's like
Yeah,
all.
just with that is like obviously women will be more vulnerable, so they need like more
Well, because
women shelters.
there's a lot of sex trafficking,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of forced prostitution and violence towards women all the time.
I believe if they had more women shelters, just purely just women shelters, I think most of these issues will go away because then they're looked after more, and then the men can have their own section where they can obviously
I
do
also
it.
find the couple shelter situation they have, it doesn't work
Yeah.
because most of us are having not healthy relationships to begin with. And then when they put you in a room where you're isolated with somebody, neither one of you are getting the help that you need, and you're just at each other. I always say being alone in a box with your thoughts. Sometimes it's too much of a trigger for people who have negative experiences, right? And they're not. It's not like they're having. Okay, so there's like a mental health class and a self-esteem class, and they don't have the positive things that they need to help us feel better and get better. And if men are preying on women all the time, and they are, it doesn't help anybody. Because it just hurts us, and in the long run, it hurts everybody else. And I also found out after the Novitel was the highest STD rate out of all the shelters in North America, and now it's Delta. Because prostitution is forced, and nobody's thinking about stuff like that, and everybody's not using protection. So everybody's getting STDs and dying and HIV, and it's scary, man.
Yeah.
You know, and if somebody rapes you, it's not your fault, but you could get something that kills
Yeah,
you.
you can catch a disease.
And honestly, I'm not picking on men, but sexual predators shouldn't be with the general population in that situation.
Exactly.
Because they're not. I took a lot of stuff in school, and they can't be rehabilitated, and now they're just sticking them with all the vulnerable side women that have no protection. And the staff won't protect you. You know, some of the staff takes bios, from what I understand.
What's that?
Like, you can pay them to get a key to other people's rooms, people are telling me.
Wow.
You know? Or
just corruption.
Apparently the staff is stealing just as much as everybody else. And I believe that, because when I stayed at the Ryerson with my boyfriend at the time, we had a microwave and 11 bags. When I got there, they had only 6 bags, but they have no brand new microwave, and one of the staff was wearing my boyfriend's jacket.
That's sad.
I was like, what the fuck? There's nobody to stop them.
They're not even trained properly. They're not screened properly.
No, they're just regular people. A lot of new immigrants that are struggling with English, and they're learning, but they don't know they're not equipped to deal with the situation. They don't understand what's going on, and there's a huge language barrier a lot. Because the main language in Canada is still English, so if they can't understand what I'm saying, how can they help?
Exactly. They've got to be able to read your tone of voice and all of that. They can't do that, can they?
No,
if
they
they're
don't
struggling
understand.
to speak English,
And they have no idea, unless you've walked in that type of situation and lived it. That's why harm reduction workers that have gone through this life usually get into the harm reduction situation, because they want to help the people because they've been through it.
Yeah, they also come from harsher conditions, or so they lack that compassion. It's not their fault, but because they come from those
and they don't understand
countries,
because there's not a whole bunch of drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, I got PTSD when I hear that, because I think, oh my God, somebody's IGN.
So anyway, what was your name again?
Lisa.
Lisa, it was nice to meet you, Lisa. Thank you for everything.
They're coming in here. I hope Randy and Noah are okay.
Oh, the ambulance, right?
Yeah, because they're turning in here. Oh, they are. It's the scariest thing watching this stuff.
Yeah, as soon as you hear ambulance,
I get PTSD just hearing
still
that.
triggered, right?
Oh yeah, I'm triggered here. I'm going to turn in here. I hope my friends are going to be okay.
Sad, man. Anyway, Lisa, thank you for talking to me. And
Yeah.
it was brilliant talking to you. All right.
Yeah.